What's up, San Antonio? We are so excited. We are coming to you live from the lobby of KW Heritage. I'm here with a good friend, Ricardo Gonzalez, here for the KWH UnLocked podcast, where we like to dig in with agents that have been with us for 10 years or over, or at least the top 10% of our market center. One of the things we talk about at Heritage is how Eagles love to fly with Eagles, and iron sharpens iron. And so I'm thrilled that we've got a friend here today who is one of those Eagles flying in our market center, encouraging others, who's been a part of the culture. And it's been just a phenomenal ride for you over the last 10 years. So welcome aboard, my friend.
Here, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm gonna lie. So. Got the missus looking at me right here, so.
No, we're excited Mariana's down here because I know she said she wouldn't be in the lobby, so I'm glad she's here because I'll be watching and gauging her reactions to what you're saying. So, yeah, no, that's exciting. Big year for you, obviously, 2024. I know you hit a major milestone, so I'm going to jump right into that. You landed on the San Antonio Business Journal for top teams. I mean, tell me about the excitement behind that and how you feel about it.
It's exciting because, I mean, one, we never done it before, and two is just, I guess it's validation that I'm doing something right, to finally see that after so many struggles, because I started the team in 2021, so it's been like a roller coaster of bringing on agents, losing agents, so that definitely takes away from, the energy of like, am I doing something wrong? Is it me that's failing them? So to get that felt really good.
Nice.
So,
nice. Validation of I'm doing it.
I'm doing something right. So yes, it felt good.
People don't realize when you start a team how much of a learning curve it is. People think, I'm successful as an individual agent, so of course I can add other people, and more bodies equals more homes. And I think a lot of people discover that's not the case when they get their team going.
Yeah, and especially when you're bringing on agents and then agents are leaving you and they're out scripting you of why they're leaving, and at the end you're like, man, this is almost like a listing appointment or a buyer consultation of I should know my scripts, I should know my value of why they shouldn't leave. And it does hurt because, again, when they leave, you take on the failure of like they didn't succeed because of you.
Yeah.
So it is a big learning curve. If you're starting a team, I'm telling you, please talk to people and get advice because it's not easy. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
So
if y'all see me laughing, we've got a live audience here, so you can't see behind the camera, but we do have some of our agents and our awesome staff people here with us. And so if you heard a dog choking in the background, yes, that was a dog. And if you're Craig and Kian watching, that was Ryan McDaniel's dog. So feel free to call him.
There you go.
Anyway, so talk to me about your team structure real quick, just so that the watching audience has an idea of how large your team is, and tell them about kind of your wife Mariana's role as well on the team, and then I want to go backwards on where you started. So let's start with structure.
So right now we have 4 agents with us, myself including, and then we have Mariana, which runs the entire show. I'm literally all over the place. So if you ever need anything, Mariana would be the person to go to. I'm still in the position where I have to be the rainmaker. I still have to produce. I'm not quite there where I could completely step out. But a lot of my energy and time does go to my team because, of course, their growth is my success. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. And so now going backwards, because of course the team is the result of all the work and where you're at now, but let's start with where you came into the industry, because you've got a very fascinating story that a lot of people, I don't think know. I didn't even know for the longest time, because it's not something you grandstand on to say, I started here, this is what I overcame, so what's your excuse? I mean, you just kind of keep it in the background, and you're always willing to share it, so I want to hear a little bit about that. Let's go backwards on what got you into real estate. Start there.
So I guess my story, how you just said it, I don't really share it. I guess I never want to use it as a crutch.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing that I tell myself that, yes, it happened. Yes, I overcame it. But I never want people to see me like, oh, it's because of X, Y, Z of what happened to Ricardo. I always just want them he's putting in the work. That's why he's succeeding, But I got into real estate, and it's funny how I told you that I had my degree in architecture.
Yeah.
And I graduated back in 2009 from UTSA.
Nice.
And of course, that's the year of the mortgage, of everything going upside down, So
yeah, 2009. Oh yeah, nothing interesting happening at that time.
Exactly. So I was already working as a server, as a bartender for 9 years at Olive Garden.
Okay.
And as I was at Olive Garden, at one point when I was going to college, I was working 3 jobs.
Wow.
And I was in a relationship. So I was always the kid in architecture behind. You know, I would show up to class, you know, to finish my work at 2 a.m, and the kids would be leaving with their projects done, and I'm about to start, and presentations at 8 a.m. You know, and this is me getting off of work, so I'm dead tired. So my mentality was always like, okay, these are the cards you were dealt with.
Yeah.
Either you can make excuses or move forward. So I always had the mentality of just push. And it was just funny how we spoke about, like, I was blessed that when I was serving, when I graduated from architecture, I was still bartending at Olive Garden, and I got offered the position to work at phones for Verizon to open a store at Stone Oak. And no interview, no nothing. They were like, you have the job if you want it. So I was like, okay, I took the job.
Yeah.
And as I was selling phones, Verizon, I sold a person that did timeshare. And at that moment, she was like, if you want the job, I'm opening up a store. You have it.
People just keep offering you
yeah,
jobs.
And I was like, there's no interview. And I was like, okay. So then I did the timeshare. And as I was selling timeshare, the person I sold to was the owner for an architecture firm.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, if you want the job, you have it. So I'm now doing the architecture, and I did it for 3 years.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was doing timeshare, and I was making great money. And even the person, the owner of the architecture, he sits down with me. He's like, Ricardo, you already reached the peak of what I could teach you. So at this moment, I can't pay you more. And you're making almost 100,000 in timeshare, and you're making nothing. And it's going to take you more years to make close to that.
Yeah.
So he basically said, decide where you want to go. So I left architecture, did the timeshare, and I stayed in timeshare for another 9 years.
Yeah. And when you were in timeshare, because I know it wasn't a traditional timeshare model, you were more doing like the events and getting the people to then go to the demonstrations.
Correct. I was a person, if you ever been to Six Flags or these events where they tell you, hey, you want a vacation, here's a raffle ticket, spin the wheel, that type that was me. Y'all laugh, and y'all have had that experience where, like, is this real? Yeah, it's real.
It is real.
But there's a catch, you know? So I had to work real smart to get paid of keeping my people to stay at the event, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I had to always work smarter, not harder, make real good of my time. And I'm blessed that I was in that timeshare for those 9 years, because I'm a big firm believer nothing happens, you know, everything happens for a reason. And that's where I met Mariana.
Yeah.
You know, I met her there at work, and as soon as I met her, I knew, okay, what is my next step? Like, if I see a future with her, I have to, I guess, put on your big boy pants and, you know, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, well, I have my degree in architecture. I might as well get my real estate license.
Yeah.
So that same year that we were planning the wedding and getting married, I got my real estate license. I bought my house, and we got married, and I was able to pay 80% of it up front with no debt.
Isn't that phenomenal?
Yeah.
I love that.
All in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Talk about a year of change and evolution and growth. And
Yep.
Okay, and so you get your license. Do you just jump into it at that point and start making money, or what was the start like for you?
So I got my license in the middle of, like, June, I forget when, but I had Ignite, but Ignite was nothing, like Keller Williams was not what it was back in 20.
It was in growth mode, right?
Correct. 2015, it was still different, you know, so I was that agent of, like, listening to the instructors and kind of like, I'll do that when my time comes.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, putting it off. And I was just doing it part-time because I was still doing the timeshare, you know, but of course, as soon as we got married, a month later, Mariana got pregnant.
As life would have it.
Yeah,
Yes, a surprise around every corner.
Just a month, you know. So at that moment, it was like that fight or flight mode. I was like, do I do the real estate, or do I keep the job that I know I'm bringing in 100,000 in, working 16 hours for just 2 days or 3 days? So
got a lot riding on that bet of rolling the dice and seeing what happens.
Exactly. So at that moment, no lie, I picked the timeshare. I'm like, I'm not going to do the real estate. If it happens, it happens. So here comes RJ, October, and that's where, like...
RJ's your son, Ricardo Jr.
Yes, that's my son. And that's when it was the moment that created my path line, if you want to say, you know?
Okay.
Ricardo was born, and man, this is kind of hard to talk about, like, you know, because this is actually maybe the fourth time that I ever really shared the story. So we didn't have a great experience in the birth of Ricardo. So from the start point of Mariana water breaking, you know, going into labor, you know, trying to go natural, complications happen, emergency C-section had to happen, to where at the table when she's giving birth, everything, it's so chaotic that everything is going bad.
Yeah.
You know, Mariana was about to die, pass away, die on the table. So I literally just got Ricardo in my hands crying, but I could hear the doctors of like, they can't figure out why she's bleeding so much. They can't figure out what's going on. They can't figure out why she's going pale. They just...
You're reading the room and picking up on this.
Not only reading the room,
of the energy,
hearing them.
Yeah.
I'm hearing them, and I'm barely trying to hold Ricardo, and they take him away from me. And I remember this one moment where I'm seeing them put gauze to cover up, like stop the bleeding, and then they start sewing her up. And they're counting. They're like, do you have the whatever, the towels?
And
I heard them. They use 9. And they're like, we have 8. Where's the 9-1? And they're sewing her up. And I'm like, the 9-1 is still in there. And they open her back up, and they're like, it is here. Like, you know, and so I'm in this traumatic moment, not enjoying the birth, right? And they say, okay, we're going to send her back up for recovery. And I'm like, is everything good? I'm asking questions. They're like, no, it's only time will tell. And that's not something you want to
talk about. That's not the confidence I want to hear out of my doctor.
You know, and it's not even our doctor, you know, that we were.
Oh, so your OBGYN wasn't able to be
wasn't
there.
It's all night crew, and that typically are never there. So we're not getting straight answers. And they take her to recovery. So at that moment, I'm still kind of like, I need to get back time with my son.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I need to get at least a moment, you know, to enjoy the birth of my son. So I go back upstairs with my parents to just see him, you know.
Just try to have that initial moment that you missed out on.
Exactly. And as I go up there, and not even 5 minutes in, they call me. They're like, Ricardo, you have to go downstairs. We're doing an emergency, you know, operation on your wife. So I'm running back down, and I see my wife pale white.
What's going through your mind at that moment?
At that moment, I start thinking of everything that I heard from the doctors and everything that I'm seeing. That I'm like, man, these people are incompetent. You know, going from the goth, like they couldn't find the 9-1. I'm already thinking, okay, they did something. What is going on? And I want to cuss, so I'm trying not to.
Yeah, it's right. It's not network TV. It's not PBS. You're good.
So I'm literally, what the fuck, you know?
Bleep you out, right? Yeah.
So I'm seeing her, and they're taking her, and I'm trying to get answers, and my mom's crying, and I'm not a crying person, but my mom's crying. So now I'm crying because I'm in the fear of my life, you know, what's going on. They don't allow me to go back there with her, and time just slows down. It's just one of those moments where it's like, I'm out in front of the surgery. I'm trying to get answers. No one's giving me answers. It's taking forever. And then the doctor comes and tells me, hey, so this is a situation. It's either we try to save your wife's uterus so that you could have more kids, or she dies. What do you want to do? And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? What do you want? Save my wife.
You're going to choose your wife.
Save my wife. Right? You know? So they go back. That happens. They bring her back. They say, hey, everything's good. I'm still in shock. I still don't believe anything they tell me, you know? But now she's in recovery, and our doctor still doesn't.
And how long was she in surgery, do you think?
I would say a good maybe 4 hours, 5
hours.
No,
like
actually,
eternity. Yeah.
Actually, no. It was longer than that, because they had to get a specialist.
Oh wow!
And the specialist was having dinner, and he didn't want to leave dinner. I remember that. He was having dinner. He didn't want to leave dinner. He told him it would take him about 2 hours to get here, and I'm like, so that's 2 hours that she's back there. They're not doing anything.
Just containing.
And she was already pale white when she went in there. So I'm thinking, like, I could
lose. Are they doing blood transfusions and all this stuff during that time? And
like, I have no idea. In my head, I'm just thinking, like, if she almost died in, you know, when she was in recovery, and now she's back there and we're waiting for this doctor, like, you know, anything could happen. I can't even say goodbye. I can't even hold her. I can't even be there for her. Like, you know, so I'm going through all these emotions. Thankfully, she's here. So I see her right now.
It does have a happy ending at the end of the story.
I know. I wish that was the happy ending. So thankfully she's here. We're in recovery. They're finally telling me everything that happened. You know, they still don't have a reason why it happened. You know, I keep on asking, when is the doctor going to get here? Like our doctor. And this was Saturday. I'm looking at Mariana, right? Saturday
night.
And her doctor didn't come until Tuesday.
Oh, your actual OBGYN
Our actual doctor didn't come until Tuesday. Now, on Sunday, the doctor that did the surgery wanted me to break the news to my wife, Mariana, that we can't have kids anymore.
Oh, she doesn't know about the hysterectomy yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Mariana is like waking up in the hospital in intensive care, you know, and she's asking me these questions like, what happened? Where's Ricardo? What's going on? Why do I feel like this? And I don't know what do I say?
Yeah.
You know, like talk about like not being prepared with a script. Talk about handling objections at that moment, you know? And the doctor wants me to break the news.
Oh, geez. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, you tell. So the doctor tries to.
She's going to have a litany list of questions and wanting answers. And how are you supposed to provide that?
Yeah. So the doctor kind of tells her, but not really. So then I'm just kind of like trying to find time, you know, for our doctor to come, but doesn't come till Tuesday. And of course, she hasn't seen little Ricardo. You know, I haven't seen Ricardo because they can't bring Ricardo in the ICU in intensive care.
Risk of the other patients or risk for the
correct.
baby. Yeah.
So that's making it even worse right there, you know? And then, of course, when we finally see Ricardo, he's not latching, you know, that bond is not there, you know.
So then that's heartbreaking for a mother to go through that scenario. I'm finally getting the baby. Now I can't connect with the baby in a physical way.
Yeah. So, and again, this is a lot of emotion that I'm sharing you that I have compressed down, deep down, because I could never show these emotions to Mariana because at that moment, like, I have to be the one to be like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Like, you need to go through what you need to go through. And I'm here just to support you. And I don't know. Words cannot explain. I don't know if I said the right thing. I hope I said the right thing, but I was there for her. But the story even gets more, you know. So I forget how many days we're there in the ICU.
Yeah.
Like,
and you finally get to go home.
We finally get released. And we get home, and we're bringing in Ricardo, you know, to our home that we bought, you know, and we're trying
your first home that you just bought.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay.
So we're trying to enjoy that moment right there, and I get a call because I'm a supervisor in timeshare, you know, and we have mandatory meetings every Thursday, and they call me saying, "Hey, Ricardo, you need to get on this call for team meeting." I'm like, okay, and I remember I'm sitting down by the bed. I remember Mariana's right across from me, laying down, you know. She's still not well, and I'm holding Ricardo. I get my phone, put it on speaker, and in the team meeting, the first thing is like, hey, I just want to let you know we're going to have to let you go. And I'm holding Ricardo, and I'm looking at Mariana, and I'm just like, what? And then they're like, we have to let you go. Not only you, it's 90,000 people. But you're one of the people we have to let know. We want to just thank you, and that's it. Goodbye. So the phone call ends, and now I'm just kind of like...
This is still 2009, so...
This is already 2016.
Okay, 2016.
2016.
Okay, yes.
So, and it's a Thursday. I always remember it's a Thursday.
So you weren't seeing this coming down the pipeline.
No.
Because 2016, we were doing well again. The economy had turned and all that. So this was out of left field.
Out of left field. So I'm holding Ricardo. I'm looking at Mariana, and I just tell myself, okay, let's get Mariana good. You know, put her to bed, her medication. Let me feed Ricardo, make sure he's good, you know. And I literally leave my house that night, and I go to the Keller Williams office, open up my computer, and I get on Facebook, and I'm just messaging everybody on my Instagram.
What are you sending them?
And I'm literally just messaging everybody, hey, this is Ricardo Gonzalez. I don't know if you've seen on social media, but I have my license in real estate, and I can help anybody in Texas. I really need your help. Who do you know? And I'm typing this because back then you couldn't copy and paste and all that. So I'm typing all this same message, and I'm just blasting it
to everybody.
Thursday night. And I go back Friday night, and I go back Saturday night, Sunday night. Like every night I'm going because I can't go in during the day because Mariana is nowhere near well.
Yeah, she can't
walk.
Ricardo
She can't
yet.
do anything. She can't pick up Ricardo. She's going through trauma. Postpartum hasn't kicked in. Ricardo's not latching on, not drinking. So.
And are you at that moment? I mean, do you even have time to process the fear or the pressure of we now own a home? We lost my income. Is Mariana working at this point, or? So
she was working, but she was on maternity leave.
Okay, so she had a little bit of income still coming through. And then now you've also switched careers, going, and it's a self-employment industry. Yeah. So there's not a paycheck automatically waiting for you.
So I was making great money at timeshare, but as we all know, making good money, you spend it fast too. And I'm not.
Realtors know that better than most.
Yeah. and I knew like how many hours I have to work, what to get. So I was good at money's coming in, spend, it's gonna come in, you know. So of course, when all that happened, I look at my account and I'm like, we have no savings. We have nothing, you know. I know there's no more checks coming in.
Right.
I filed for unemployment. Unemployment for us is like servers. You don't really claim much.
Right.
You know, because you don't want to get deducted during tax returns and stuff like that. So my checks are like $150 a week.
From the unemployment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm like doing the math. What do I have to do? Because mortgage is coming up next month. We had just bought a car for Mariana right before we gave birth to Ricardo. Like, I'm talking about
first baby, we got to upgrade, give mama the room.
Yes. So bills are going to come. And I'm trying to figure out money. And I'm like, okay, either I'm going to make the hard call and call people for money, or I'm going to sell shit, or I'm going to go to real estate, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of all that. And I went to the office, started making my calls, started making my messages. I got my first lead within the first week or two from sending the messages.
So that's probably a little bit of a sigh of relief.
So I'm excited, right? I got a lead, interested to buy, wants to work with me. Great. Ends up being a new construction.
and not just any new construction.
Not any new construction. A new construction from the ground up. So this is not closing until March.
That moment of relief where you go, yes, I've got a buyer, just went boom.
Yes.
And for those of you, if you're not in sales, there's a difference in how you get paid on, you know, something that's ready to close right away versus if it's a build, it could be 3, 4, 6 months out before that check ever hits. So you had that momentary relief of, okay, I've got a buyer, and then quickly right out the window because you're going, well, I'm not going to see anything from that.
And trust me, guys, I did have that moment when I was with the client showing them the new construction where I could probably sell him on picking this house,
like a quick inventory
that's
or something.
Ready, probably get a bonus on the commission. I could do this. I had that moment, but I told myself it's not about me. It's not about my situation. It's about what the buyer wants.
Yes. What's best for the client.
So I had to literally just like, if this is the one you want, let's go for it, you know? And he never knew my situation, you know? So, but I think about it all the time. I was like, that's real ballsy, but it's customer service. That's what it's about.
Being a fiduciary, good customer service, all of it.
Exactly. So go back to the laptop, messaging people the same thing.
Back to the screen.
Back to find the next commission, next person, and it started building from there. I started doing all the rentals.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you guys, like, rentals do help, you know? So I started doing a lot of rentals, at least quick little checks, 300, 400. They add up, and that definitely did help, and just went from there.
Wow. Okay, so how long does it take to then close that first one?
So I probably...
Because when was RJ born?
RJ was born in October.
October, okay. So this is probably November, October-ish when you're starting to make all these calls. You find the buyer, so that first buyer closes...
First closes in March.
So you go
that new construction.
November, January, what is that, February, and then March, finally getting the first paycheck.
The only checks that I got from January and February, between that time, was rentals.
Rentals,
just showing rentals property left and right. And I had to be very smart, again, because, gas, food, all this money that I don't have to spend into that. So I had to be very strategic of when I showed this client these 3 properties, the next one would be this one in this same area, the next one would be in this area, so that it was just like a pattern.
Yeah, be smart with your time.
With my time and gas. Yeah.
Does Mariana go back to work at any point during this phase? Is she still at home recovering? What does that look like for y'all?
So that was the hard part of I had to send her back to work. Like I did had to send her back to work, knowing her mental state. Like she is going through postpartum, but we needed money.
So postpartum now on top of all of that.
Correct.
Which is a whole nother can of worms.
Correct.
And a major struggle for anybody that's
Correct.
ever been through it.
And then her work environment was so negative. You know, it was already negative and toxic before she left for the birth, but it was even worse when she went back. So just that weight of just like, she's not doing good, and I'm putting her in an environment that's not even good for her.
While she's
Sucked
still
even
wanting
more.
to recover.
Yeah. So it was just one of those, and I'm showing homes with little Ricardo. I'm literally carrying him. You know, I remember when he had his blowout in my truck.
Yeah.
You know, for those.
Every new parent's been there with a blowout in the car. Yeah. Not a tire blowout either. If you don't have kids, you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no. So I remember trying to open the doors, like, y'all go in, take a look at the house. I'm going to have to go deal with this.
Yeah.
And back, and he's rolling over in my truck, and I'm like, bro, like, you just.
This is pre-COVID. We don't all have sanitizer in every cup holder.
Exactly. I was the person doing open houses, carrying the crib, or what's it called, the playpen that opens up.
Yeah.
Setting up the little one there with his toys and stuff like that. I literally had to do open houses because I had to find every moment I could to give Mariana a mental break. Like, she was not doing well. I'm telling you right now. Like, I knew it. So any moment that I can to where take a few minutes, rest, I took Ricardo.
Yeah.
So that was all the time. And it was like in June where I was already kind of like, I'm finally getting closings consistent every month.
Okay, we've got that one closed in March, and then now we're getting some.
Correct.
Going.
Everything's coming consistently, you know. And it was June and July where I told myself, and I told Mariana, and I was like, well, I first thought about it, and I told, like, just, you got in this business to believe in yourself.
Right.
Like, you got in this business because you thought you could do it on your own. Do it. So I just called Mariana when she was at work, and I was like, you know what? Quit right now. Don't ask questions. I will figure this out. Just quit right now. I probably will do better if I have you at home and you take care of Ricardo for a bit, and I could probably do more production, you know, without me carrying him around.
So and I decided to add a little bit more pressure to the plate,
yeah.
But you gave her the freedom to get her home and into a better environment.
But what choice did I have?
Yeah.
You know, it was either she's already coming home negative, you know, she's already coming home in a different mindset.
Yeah.
It's not helping me at all. You know, yes, the money is good, but was it worth it?
Right.
You know, so I took on the weight, gave her that piece right there, and then just keep on going forward.
What was Mariana's reaction when you said, quit, come home?
Oh, she was crying.
Yeah.
She cried. I could hear her crying over the phone. She's like, are you sure? I was like, don't second guess it. Because right now I'm telling you, just do it. Don't make me second guess this decision right now. Just quit right now. Come home. We'll figure this out.
So she quits. You've got that relief now. Okay, she's in a better environment, but yeah, you've got some more pressure now on, I've got to perform now at a higher level. So what's the next step? How do you tell yourself, okay, now I've got to take it up another notch?
Man, like, you're asking me some great questions that I have to like start thinking.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's a process. No, it was just every day. Literally, I had to be very strategic. I'm telling you, I'm a high D, high C. These first 2 years was all C. Working smart, trying to outwork everybody else the smart way. I remember coming to the office, and we would be in the small little bullpen, and it was always the same agents. And I literally had to hear what they were saying, see the mistakes they were doing, write it down so that I don't create that mistake, and try to work smarter, you know, in that moment right there.
See, and that little snippet right there is a great lesson for just newer agents watching. Of, you know, when they ask all the time, like, what's your number one advice to give to a new agent? We always start with, get your butt into the office.
Yeah.
Because activity leads to more activity, and when you're seeing people do the activity and you're seeing the results come from that, and like you said, you're hearing their trial and error and adjusting your own plan accordingly based off of what you're seeing and picking up just being in the office.
Correct. And I was hearing them. There's a difference of you hearing them and not doing shit and just watching the person, you know, because I see that's from the bullpen, like the chit chatter starts. I didn't have the chit chat. So I literally had to be like just listening as I'm doing what my tasks were. You know, so that's something I want to make it clear that if you're a new agent, you have to be focused on what you're doing, because in this business, it's easy for you just to lose time and then just leave the day of like, what did I do?
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I was already closing one a month. I was trying to learn as fast as I could. I mean, I did 27 deals my first year.
Your first year, 27.
27.
Backs against the wall, and you had no choice but to dial for dollars, and you end it with 27 deals.
I still remember my total
incredible.
income take home that year was 70,000. So it's not the 100,000 that I'm used to making, but 70 is better than nothing.
Right. And now your wife's home. Yeah.
Exactly. I was able to jump from 60-40 to 70-30. I was able to cap 100% in November to get 2 deals at 100%. So that's why I tell everybody, like, it could be done. It's just how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
no excuses. You had no choice but to get to work.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh. Okay.
That's
so
my first year.
Your first year, incredible feat. I mean, backs against the wall. You make it happen. You overcome the obstacles. And you crush it. I mean, 27 homes. That's an incredible first year for any real estate agent. So then year 2 and year 3, you're going in now, okay, how do I make more, profit more, and get a better life balance? What do you start to go through in terms of ideas there?
So this is the funny part. You would think, okay, after year 1, I survived that.
Yeah.
You know, you would think year 2, it's going to get better.
Right.
And it got harder year 2. And it got harder, and this is where, because now Mariana is at home now, right?
Yeah.
And this is now where Mariana's like, okay, I'm taking care of the little one, you know, I'm not home much, you know, she sees that I'm making calls, but the money's not coming as fast, because bills are still...
They still come.
And checks, as we know, don't come, you know, when we want them to come, you know? So...
And most realtors aren't naturally born with understanding how to treat their finances when they're self-employed, and when to pull out taxes and how to put money back into the business.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to find my rhythm again for the next year, because I'm starting over from the beginning, you know, and this is where Mariana is still going through postpartum. Like you have to, like, the postpartum is a real thing, guys. I'm not lying. Like I saw it, and for Mariana, it took a little bit longer because we had this tragic event.
Right.
You know, so it kind of
she's not only dealing with postpartum, but probably some PTSD from the trauma of the whole ordeal.
And we're dealing with, like, do we sue? Do we not sue? So this is being brought up more, you know. So I remember
probably a lot of people in your ears also.
Correct. So I remember, like, we had a lot of conversation with Jack. And so year 2, Mariana's not in the right headspace. And Mariana's now like, oh, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You know, because my mind, the KW Kool-Aid,
okay, yes,
you know, because my mindset is now changing, you know, and so now it's like a negative environment at home. So that's where it's just like, okay, what am I trying to do? You know, I'm working so hard to provide for my wife, to be there for my wife, to give my son something good, but that to come home and it's a negative environment. To where then that's where I started having a lot of arguments with Mariana, and a lot of conversations would come up about divorce, because I was already taking a beating from all angles.
Yeah, because real estate's not what you see on TV.
Correct.
There's a lot of hard work and stress just in your daily business.
Correct. Like, I'm dealing with stress from clients and their situations. I'm taking that in, and I haven't still even shared any of my feelings with anybody of what I went through. Like, I just buried all that in.
Yeah, and went to work.
You know, and went to work. So, of course, coming home, and then Mariana giving me, not attitude, but it was just... She
was going through her own struggles, which led to miscommunications and arguments,
So home wasn't well. So, and she's here.
Giggling. I'm trying to frame it nicely. Mariana's like, you better get my side of that story. But there's always two sides. We know Mariana. I'm sure he was being an ass.
I love you.
Yeah.
But again, when I tell people, like, our second year was hard and divorce conversations came up, they came up.
Yeah.
You know, and it was to the point of, like, you're supposed to back me up on this.
Right.
Not make it harder. And again, I'm trying to make these goals for us, you know? So it was. And
from the mom perspective, I know, because you're at home then dealing with the kiddo all day and your own stress and PTSD and trauma. And so then, you both pots are boiling hot right
we
now.
We had a lot of like
colliding.
we had a lot of like tit for tat.
Uh-huh.
Well, you did this. Well, I did this, and I did this. So, you know,
Becomes a competition on who's doing more. Yeah.
Exactly. And these arguments started happening more after Bold. You know, because I left Bold with Pat Mancusa with a whole different mindset.
And Bold, for those of y'all that don't know, back then it might have still been 8 weeks, but it's a 6 to 8 week intensive sales training to develop not only yourself as an agent, but you as a person.
Correct.
Build out that life by design. That's
Correct.
what Bold stands for, yeah.
Correct. So I left after Bold with like a mission, what I wanted to do, why I wanted to do it. I had my why, you know. So I left with that, and that's where, you know, she was like, something happened to you, Ricardo. She's like, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, and I like, you know, so that's where I was like, why don't you take Bold with me? You know, take Bold. And she's like, no. So when the next time they offered Bold that year, I brought her.
Yeah.
I paid for her ticket to take Bold, and that's
she's not even an agent.
She's
yet,
not
or
an
anything.
agent,
Yeah.
you know. But I was like, dude, counseling's not gonna work for us. I was like, Bold is gonna work for us. I'm telling you right now.
It's in your face. There's a reason it's called Bold.
Yeah.
It's in your face. Yeah.
So I think that was if I didn't do that move, who knows where we would have been right now, you know? So I'm very happy that she did take Bold, and yeah, it changed our perception, our mentality of how to move forward.
So she goes into Bold thinking you're drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't really know about this. How do y'all both leave Bold?
We left with, now she fully understand why and what I was doing for her.
Okay.
She now saw the smaller things that I was doing for her, of why I was doing it for her.
Y'all
you
both
know?
came out with the same, what's our why? Why are we
Correct.
doing this every day?
Correct.
What gets us out of bed? What gets us going?
Yeah. So that was good. So then after that, after Bold that year, towards the end of that year, that's when I told her, I was like, okay, help me with the business. Help me be better and faster.
Yeah.
Like I did 27 deals my first year. I did 30, 35, 38 my second year, you know, and keep in mind with all this, I don't want to call it baggage, but with all these obstacles, you know? So in my head, I was like, I know I could do more if I get a little bit of help.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why I'm very grateful to Keller Williams, you know, to Tina, to Julie, to Kim, Bridgeport, for everybody that was here, because secretly they didn't know my story. But every time I asked them for help for like, how do I do this? Or how do I put this in my email or whatever? And they would do it for me. Like, they don't know how much that meant to me.
Yeah.
To get my income and my process faster to help my situation, you know? But that's where she starts helping me. We're not creating a team. This is just more help me be more efficient.
Yeah. Help me figure out the structure in the back end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where year 3 picks off, where she's finally now coming to the office, you know, as my admin, you know, assistant.
And that's always interesting, you know, because we see a lot of family teams, you know, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, siblings. So what is that transition like, going from, hey, husband and wife at home, to, oh, now we work together and you're kind of playing the role of a boss? What's that like?
Man, I fired her the first day. I fired her the first day, and she was still home, you know? So imagine that, you know?
Yeah, imagine letting go of an employee and then they're there to greet you at the door. Yeah.
It's like, oh, man. So it add another challenge. Like, you know, I'm keep on thinking like, okay, next year's gonna be better. But it's just like, we just add another hurdle to this, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'm working out. Now I see my wife 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, so that was another interesting story of like, okay, if I could get through this.
Yeah, how do we learn to still enjoy each other's company when we're together 24/7? Yeah.
Exactly. So and like I told you the other day, I apologize to Mariana every chance I get, and I'll apologize until I die, you know, because again, like, I spoke to Mariana in ways you shouldn't speak to your partner, you know, and I apologize live, and I apologize to Mariana. I love you so much, you know, and again, you can't say I'm sorry with a but, you know, so, but I still haven't processed anything that I went through the last 2 years. I've been just with the mentality, go.
Trauma doesn't go away just because life moves on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say I have my reasons, but again, there's no reason for the way I spoke to Mariana and the way I trained Mariana. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. But she our main issue was, I kept on telling Mariana, was like, do it my way. What I'm giving you, the task that I'm giving you, just trust me on this. Do it my way, understand it, and then you could change it.
Yeah.
You know, and Mariana was a high S, where she was here, no, I just want to change it to this. And I'm like...
And she was coming from a background of like organizational structure,
correct,
right? Yeah.
correct. So that made it even harder of like, you're fucking my shit up. Like,
yeah. And she's like, no, you're fucking your shit up.
yeah. I was like, I'm already going fast. Like, it's going, it's working. Yeah. And like, she would throw all this, and I'm like, oh my God. So we would just get in those battles, you know? So finally, when she was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do it your way. No questions asked. And then when she finally saw, like, she truly saw the meaning of like, okay, I get it, Ricardo, I get it. And then when she started giving me like, we can make it better in this way, I was like, okay, that's what I wanted. That's what I needed.
It's like seek first to understand. So she understood the process, figured out like what you're going through in the transactions, and then was able to say, now let's make the tweaks.
Exactly.
Okay.
So so now we're in year 3. So I did like 48 deals.
Nice.
Like I was always increasing by another 10, 12 deals per year, you know, so that was good for me. And what is that? Now we're going in 2019. That's literally when Mariana started helping me.
Good time to be going into things. Market's really picking up.
Exactly. You know, so we're going in 2019. I'm like, okay, we're doing great. I'm like, I was missing a lot on Ricardo's life. I ain't gonna lie. Like the first 3 years, I was pretty much absent from little Ricardo's life. But I told Mariana, I'm willing to lose these 3 years and you have these 3 years with him because you're never gonna have this again. Like once Ricardo's older, that's it. Like we don't have any other kids. We're not going to experience this. And I understood this, and this is where I told Mariana, like, let's just go with it, and eventually I will get to be part of Ricardo's life. You know? So 2019 comes, 2020 comes, we're killing it.
Rocking and rolling,
like 2020, 60 deals, some deals, you know. This is where now 2020 is coming around, and we're thinking, okay, let's create a team. You know, so I could get some time to be with Ricardo, you know, thinking team is
start to leverage,
you know. Oh man, I didn't even know how to run a team. Like, you know, my system and models were all in my head, not in paper. Mariana finally understood my system and models, but it was in her head too, not in paper. So imagine trying to figure that out in 2021. Yeah. So that was the next hurdle that we went through, you know?
And it's hard because people don't realize leading a team requires leadership. And you know, some people, yes, naturally inherit some leadership skill, but there's truly an art and a science behind it and methods and tools and systems. And so going into it, you're already really busy, you know, you're stretched thin, and then adding agents, and agents can sometimes be like herding cats. They don't just naturally take the direction. So now you're going, okay, now I'm supposed to add members to my team, which is going to grow and help me leverage. But of course, that doesn't end up being the reality. What happens in the reality of it all?
So, man, I made a lot of mistakes creating my team. I overcommitted, you know, into things, into splits, into what I pay for, to like my return in investment was in the negative. You know, I was being outscripted by my own agents, you know, and that's a sucky feeling, you know.
Outscripted on like you giving them direction and they're telling you why
they want to do their route, or when they want bigger splits, and I'm like, okay, you know. And I'm a giving person. Like I like to make people feel good. I like my thing is, how do you say it? Like I always want to do right by people, right? You know, so it is easy for me to be taken advantage, if that makes sense, you know. So of course I have Mariana defending me as well, and I'm like, you don't need to defend me, and like, you know, so there was that family issue running a team.
Yeah, not only is she defending you, she's defending now her husband who went to work for her when she was going through all the trauma of the surgery, and
exactly.
Yeah, so she's probably a fierce fighter for you in your background.
Yeah, so that was hard, you know, because again, I would have agents saying, like, you know, tell me like, well, you made 30,000, 40,000 off of me, you know, that's money you wouldn't have. And then in my head, I'll be like, oh yeah, you're right. But then later when I do the math, I was like, wait, if you divide the income that I make by 52 weeks, by 40 hours, I'm worth close to $185 to $200 an hour.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
You know, 200 an hour. So divided by, I'm putting in almost about 9 hours on you per week. and it takes you about 9 weeks for you to get your check, multiply it by my hours, I lost 25, 30,000 so that I could make just 2,000 or 3,000 off of our split in that commission.
You start looking at it going, I could have made more staying individual.
Exactly. And I was just like, I'm not putting in 40 hours anymore. I'm now putting 65 hours because when you go home at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., I'm still here at 8 or 9 p.m. trying to catch up on my shit.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the turning point. I was like, man, I overstretched not only in time, energy, but also in profit and splits and money. So that's where I learned every year. I was like, I got to renegotiate this. I got to redo this, you know, and of course I lost agents.
How are you figuring that out as you're going through that? Are you leaning on other agents? Are you leaning on KW Education? How are you figuring out the improvements you need to make to the team to make it more successful and profitable?
So I would talk to other team members, other agents, but of course every team runs it very different.
Right.
You know, so then there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's just you have to go back to, okay, what do you feel is a win-win? You know, where do you think they're going to be happy and you're going to be happy and you're at that point? And luckily for me, last year and this year has been great for us.
Yeah.
Like where the team is doing good. The environment is great. I'm doing well. Like everybody is just being blemishing, you know, blossoming.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it's been a challenge almost every year.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're right, because talking to your team members now, you know, when I see them in the hallways and stop them and ask them what's going on in your world, what are your wins? I mean, you've got multiple agents right now with multiple buyers in the car, multiple listings hitting the market, commission coming in. I mean, you're now not only running your business successfully, but they're now starting to grow, and it seems like you've figured out your rhythm and your processes.
And it's not perfect yet. And like I said, we're always changing what we do, and it's just like we're open to feedback. But again, our agents are finally like how it worked with Mariana, like do it my way. Don't ask why.
Yeah.
Learn it, understand it, and then we could tweak it. And then that's where they're getting the ahas of like, oh, I get it now. And that's like, great. Okay, now how can we make it better for you? Now that you understand my way, how can we make it better for you? And then that's how they're succeeding.
Matt, she's trying to signal you over there, but she's trying to whisper. You can say it loud, Hannah. It's okay.
So yeah,
I love that. And so, I mean, and that's been in what, how long you been in the industry now? About 10 years?
Going 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 years, and you're kind of now at that moment now. So then what's next? What's the big goal? Because you've got Mariana working full-time with you now.
Yep.
You've got the successful team. What are the next big goals for you that you want to tackle in the next chapter?
So I'm not done growing the team. I still want to grow the team, but I am looking for that agent that wants to replace me.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for. I'm hoping that one of my agents is like, I'll take over your role. So I'm like, great, we'll work out money situation, split situation. I now, since I know how to run a business, I know what it takes to get, you know, people to follow, then open up another business for myself and another business for Mariana. Because I know Mariana always had a passion to run her own business.
Yeah.
And I know she's learned a lot in this business. So hopefully that is the next goal.
Yeah. And then any personal goals you guys are working on?
So so this year we had made the goal, and I know this year I made the goal that I wanted to pay off my credit card debt.
I love that.
Which it happened last week.
I love that.
So
right on.
we paid off the credit card debt.
That is phenomenal.
This year our goal is to start the surrogate process.
Yes. And that's what I wanted to hit on, because I found out in your story, you guys later on find out one of her ovaries had ruptured, and that's what was causing the internal bleeding when she got sewn up and was still bleeding inside. But her other one was still healthy, and you guys were able to take eggs and freeze. And so now I look at that and I go, man, talk about a full circle moment at your decade mark in the industry. You started out with your wife nearly dying on the delivery table and going through with no answers, switching careers, buying your first house, buying a new car, not having solid income coming in, and just literally having to dial for dollars and make that happen, to where here you are now 10 years later, a successful team, a healthy wife, a healthy son. How old's RJ now?
He's 8.
He's 8 years old, and then now you're finally at that phase where it's like, okay, we can maybe do this again.
Yeah, he's going to turn 9 this year. And it's funny because I did all this when I was going to turn 30. You know, the marriage, the house, the real estate license, all this.
Thinking, woohoo, 30, 30, I'm making it happen.
Yeah, and I'm 40, you know, right now. So literally 10 years later, like paying off the debt, you know, starting this process. So I don't know if it's a number thing where maybe when I turn 50, something else special is going to happen. I don't know, but it's for whatever reason. I mean, it's been a blessing, you know.
Yeah.
Everything has been a learning lesson. So, you know, and again, like I'm so happy for Keller Williams because, again, it gave me a lot of the tools that I needed, you know.
I love to hear that.
So.
I love to hear that. And yeah, I mean, and you've been such a fixture amongst the culture and pouring into the other agents here, especially the new agents, and helping teach the Ignite trainings, and then pouring into agents that are, you know, years into the industry and looking to take their next growth phase. And so we appreciate you for doing all that. So, I mean, just a few more questions and then we'll wrap things up. I mean, new agents getting into the business, what's your best advice for them?
Get more into action. That's the thing I keep on telling brand new agents. Like, if you spend your time in just trying to learn, like, you will lose a lot of time. Like, get into actions. Don't be scared of making mistakes. There's tons of people around you that will be able to help you correct those mistakes.
Right.
But you can't learn if you don't have mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, you're never going to be perfect. So you're
never going to know it all.
Exactly.
I love when people always say, oh, I feel like I still need to know more before I get out there. I go, you're never going to know it all.
Exactly. One of the things that I learned in my team that has been real helpful is I throw them in the deep end. You know, I was like, oh, you want to do an open house? Okay, do an open house. Do it your way.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it their way, and then I'll show up to the open house. I was like, this is where I would have done things differently. And then they see it from my perspective, like, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, okay, but now it's going to sync a lot better of why not to do it the other way.
Yeah, versus you just told them and then they,
exactly.
Like, okay, try it your way first.
So do it your way. Let's see, how did that go? How did that conversation go? Okay, try it this way, and then they see now the difference, you know? Yeah. So for new agents, get into action. That's the best advice I could give you. You got you got Garrett, you got Matt, you got Tina, you got everybody, got
the
Lisa.
The entire family of KW Heritage
exactly.
that loves to pour into their fellow agent. And we talk to Igniters about that all the time, about you can't learn to swim just by reading a book. At some point, you're going to have to get in that water, and it might look a little sloppy at first, but eventually you're going to get that rhythm.
Yeah. And again, just know why you got into the business. Like, you got into the business because you believed you could do it. Go with that. And find any excuse for that fire to keep on pushing you. You know, we didn't share a lot, but there was a lot of moments in my life in those 2 years that certain people would say, and it would just like piss me off. And I just would use that as motivation of like, okay, let me show you that I'm different. I could do it, you know?
Yeah.
So just find what pushes you and just do it. Yeah. So.
And knowing, what drives you. And, you know, I think it was Gary Keller that talks about, you know, we can't motivate people. What we can do is find what motivates them and help them lean into that. And it sounds like you knew what motivated you, and you would find those fires that would light your passion to keep going and dig deeper.
Exactly. And then, like, I wouldn't take, you know, I would just remind myself, like, hey, you know, so-and-so is probably seeing you in this light of eye, or so-and-so thinks of this of you, like, show them differently, like, you know, keep, like, just, it was just little things. And then, what's my why? Mariana's my why. Little Ricardo's my why. So it was just, I had moments I didn't want to show up to work. I had moments that I didn't want to make my calls or work on a weekend, but you have to find those reasons to come back, you know?
For the agent that's at that phase now where they feel like they're doing a good amount of deals, maybe they want to grow into a team, or they want to level up or leverage, what's your advice for the agent in that situation trying to figure it out?
Okay. So if you want to grow a team, have a lot of conversations. Like, talk to as many people as you can, you know, about growing a team. Look into your financing, because trust me, I took a big financing hit in 2021. Like, I'm talking about major hit where it did affect my 2022. It did suck a lot of the wind of, do I even want to continue a team, you know? So it does hurt your spirit and your mindset in that. So if you are, it does take a lot out of you if you want to grow a team. So I would say have as many conversations you can, look into your finances, and then do it. Don't just do it all at once. I don't recommend doing what I did, because it was hard.
The recipe is not more bodies equals more homes. We've seen that time and time again, and it's just not a recipe for success. If you're methodical about it and you follow, 7 levels of expansion, or go through career visioning that KW offers, there's a roadmap there that people can take advantage of to speed up that process, for sure. Okay, and then for the husband and wife duos out there, or the family duos, we've got a lot of them. The industry's got a lot of them. What is your advice to those taking that leap of, hey, I got an idea, let's work together?
it is doable. I'm going to tell you right now, if me and Mariana could do it, anybody could do it. Because I'm a high D, high C. Mariana's a high I, high S. So we're very opposite. So if that could work, anybody could work.
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of communication. You know, one thing that we do try, and it doesn't happen all the time, but we try about 80% of the time when we come home and we're at the dinner table, we try not to talk about work. Like every time she wants to bring up something, an issue.
That's hard for a realtor not talk about work.
I know. But I tell her, it's like, you know what? Let's just leave that for the office.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get a conference room. We could talk about it. And like, let's talk about Ricardo. Let's talk about this movie. Let's talk about this TV show.
Talk about what we want to do with our weekend.
Exactly.
Or see our family.
Like, get into that mindset. Like, you're a married person. Like, this is not the office. This is not the work environment here.
Yeah.
So that's helped us a lot.
Well, it's great for just realtors, even if they're individual, of so many higher producers experience burnout. And I think a lot of that is they're nonstop on and thinking about real estate. Their friends are in real estate. Their clients become their friends. The other agents become their friends. So it's like you're just in this solid ecosystem of nonstop real estate and finding something outside of it, whether it's a hobby or having friends outside the industry, and doing stuff helps kind of renew it to turn your batteries off so they can recharge and do more real estate. Mariana, do you want to come over here for a second? I know you don't like camera, but I want to bring you in because I want to hear just real quick from the wife's perspective of working with your husband and going through everything and being healthy now. I want you to be over here on camera. Salo, zoom out a little for us if you can. Okay, and here, come around to this side and talking to the mic. No. What's just your 2 cents on joining your husband in the business? What is your advice out there to the husband and wife duos, whether they're both licensed or they're in a setup like yours? What would your advice be in that moment?
It would definitely be having the conversations.
Having the
hard conversations off the get-go.
Yeah.
On being on the same page, knowing the intention behind wanting to work together.
Right.
Because working together is not ideal for everyone, and it's not the best thing for everyone. So it would be having the hard conversations first.
Yeah. And we've heard Ricardo's perspective on where y'all started, what you've been through, and where you're at now. I mean, what's your take on the journey, his success, y'all's success as a real estate team and as a couple? I mean, what's your mindset now 10 years later on this journey?
It is completely different. I always say I try to like take it all in and be like, look where we were 10 years ago, you know, when we were struggling. Where I was working at, you know, the 9 to 5, thinking that was the life, you know. It's like, oh, but everything is already set out for me. I can retire when I'm 60, you know, to then the opportunities that working together and then working in the industry has given us.
I love that. And y'all are such a dedicated duo, not only to each other, but to your craft and the work. I mean, y'all are here Monday through Friday. A lot of times y'all are some of the first people I see in the building, especially you. I know you're getting caught up and getting the days organized for the team. And so, I mean, kudos to y'all, and I just applaud you. I know the office applauds you and everybody in the KW network on just how far y'all have come, what you've triumphed over, and that you're still out here kicking butt, changing lives, not only your clients' lives, but your team members and your family. I mean, y'all are doing it. Y'all are doing it. It's incredible. I love that for you guys. I love that for y'all. Y'all, and hang tight for a second, but I mean, this is what KW and specifically KW Heritage are all about. I'm going to let go of this mic, so watch it behind your head. It's about, you know, people ask, well, why should I come to KW? And I always say, it's not what you get from KW, it's who you become being at KW. And I think y'all are a perfect testament of that journey and that result of where you started 10 years ago as individuals and as a couple and where you're at now. And we love that journey and supporting people on that journey and pouring into them and helping them with those tools and cultures. And I know Ricardo's the type that he always pours into people. And so if you have questions for him or want to ask him advice or just hear 2 cents or run something by him, how do people reach out to you, Ricardo?
Literally just walk into our office. So you could literally walk into our office. You could ask the girls for my phone number. You could go to Mariana. Like, we're available whichever way. Like I said, you see me at the hallway, stop me, ask me the question. Now, I am that person where I will ask you a question back because I want to know, like, did you attempt to at least try? You know, because again, like, you already have tons of resources here.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just looking for the quick shortcut, you're not gonna learn that way. You know, so I will ask you, okay, what was your process of elimination before I give you the answer, so that way they could learn. You know, so.
I love that. And that's what KW is all about, is pouring into others, and rising tide lifts all boats. So even if you're not with KW, or you're someone not even in the industry and you happen to come across this podcast, we know in San Antonio alone, there's 15,000 realtors. You look at the nation, it's something like 1.2 million. So if you've got a realtor in your life that needs that balance, that needs that drive, needs better culture, transaction support, leadership, whatever it is, share this podcast with them, expose them to the culture of KW Heritage, because we are always looking to have our iron sharpen more iron and our eagles to fly with more eagles. And we love to expose not only our culture, but our tools and our resources with other agents out there. We've got our next, what we call our team meeting, which is essentially our office meeting with our agents, happening on June 26th. It's at 11:30. I'm a huge believer, and I don't put borders around brokerages. And so if we can support you, whether it's just something as a simple question, or you want to come into our market center for a little bit of energy, culture, education, collaboration, we'd love for you to come here, check out the culture, meet our agents. Whether you're with us or not, we're going to pour into you, and we'd love to welcome you into the market center. Guys, thank you. I know that's a lot to pour out, and I know it's not something you just willingly walk around the office shouting. And so I truly appreciate you guys being open and honest and transparent with us on the journey, because there is somebody in here today, there's somebody watching in the market center online that's relating to, and somebody's looking at y'all right now going, I want that to be me at some point. And so I appreciate y'all just being open with us and sharing your journey. And
it's doable. Like, guys, don't quit on yourself. Just keep on pushing. Like, trust me, keep on. If I could do it, I'm telling you right now, if I could do it with everything that I overcome, like, I know you guys could do it. So
I love it. We love you guys. Thank you all again.
Appreciate
Ricardo.
Appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you guys on the next one. Join us again, KW Heritage Unlocked. Like it, subscribe it, share it with your friends. Let me say that again.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys the next time. Like it, subscribe to it, share it with others. And if we can ever be a resource to you, please reach out to us, and we'll see you at the next one.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you.